wanted to pass it next to Danny, who's going to talk to us about taking ways we can take action together. And we'll also hear from a case study from this campaign.
Thanks, Celine. Hey, everyone. I'm Danny. I am USCPR and USCPR Action's Digital Organizing Manager. And I'm really excited to talk to you today about our focus tactic for the moment, which is to isolate Chevron's corporate business as usual. So, how do we know that this is an effective tactic? Chevron has effectively let us know. After 2 years of this campaign, Chevron only acknowledged the boycott when the United Methodist Church endorsed the campaign in July 2024. So we know that their business relies on positive brand associations and manufacturing consent for their current business practices, to the end that Chevron actually hired a California-based PR firm to establish and run a faux news site in New Mexico. So we've seen it everywhere. The narrative is important in order for these corporate oligarchs to continue, getting money from harming people and planet. And in the way that Chevron's corporate business works is they don't necessarily have a national corporate partner that we're aware of. They work through the hard labor of community organizers on a local level. So they're basically throwing money at um, local events, institutions, people with big hearts organizing to give something to their community and are able to launder their crimes through the hard labor and love of local community event organizers. In the last year, uh, Boycott Chevron grassroots organizers and environmental justice organizers from Denver to Seattle and beyond have actually successfully pressured city councils and local community institutions and events to drop Chevron as a sponsor, including Denver's LGBT Center on Colfax. Big shout out to them. The Denver Colfax Marathon, California State Fair, City Club Portland, and the MLK Labor Council also endorsed the Chevron campaign. There's so many more wins as well. There's actually huge momentum. So, to that end, I'm very excited to introduce you to our upcoming Drop Chevron win organizer, Matt, who is a representative from Chevron Out, a French Quarter Fest. Upcoming big win for the Boycott Chevron campaign. So I'll pass it over to you, Matt. Matt, you're muted.
Ah, ah, my worst nightmare. Okay, am I unmuted now? Okay, perfect. So my name is Matt. I'm an organizer with No Ship. That's New Orleans Stop Helping Israel's Ports and the New Orleans DSA. But really, I'm here as a representative of the coalition effort, which is the Chevron Out of French Quarter Fest campaign. We believe really strongly, when I say we, I hopefully include everybody on this call as well, that this is a campaign that is going to win. Chevron's exploitation is extremely visible and apparent to working people in the Gulf Coast, New Orleans especially. I would expand that even to the Caribbean generally. And one of the things that I've learned from talking to people in the city, canvassing about this campaign, is that it takes almost no convincing for everyday people to arrive at Chevron as a villain or some exploitative weapon of imperialism. Oftentimes in our discussions with people, we simply end up expanding on their sort of core understanding or gut instinct that they have with these new components or perspectives on Chevron's evils, be this making people more aware of their participation powering the genocide of Palestinians, making it clear their role, this being Chevron's role in bringing about the illegal invasion and theft from Venezuela, or Chevron's violation of regulation, which led to the reduction of a nearby parish called Plaquemines Parish landmass by over 50%. People kind of already understand Chevron to be this villain, but highlighting all of these intersections really allows us to build motivation, action, and engagement. And this sort of culminates in outlining the secondary target of our campaign that we focus on, which is French Quarter Fest. French Quarter Fest is an unticketed city first festival that happens every year in New Orleans during our festival season. It is hosted across 14 or 15 stages in the city, and it hires musicians from the city, but also transplant musicians to perform. Usually these are small acts who perform for, we've learned, relatively little pay, primarily exposure. And their stated ethos is to represent the values and culture of the city of New Orleans. Well, Chevron uses its sponsorship funding to co-opt that goodwill and cultural cachet that French Quarter Fest has established within the city. I should mention as well, French Quarter Fest has existed since the 80s in New Orleans, and Chevron has only been the title sponsor since 2013. So they sort of somewhat recently in the history of the event have taken the reins as using this as their primary vehicle for greenwashing in the city of New Orleans. Chevron, I mentioned previously, has been found guilty by a court of Louisiana for reducing the landmass of Plaquemines Parish by over 50%. They violated regulations at their refineries in the early aughts as Texaco, and the finding was to the number of something like 750 or $800 million. Based on our research and publicly available information about French Quarter Fest, Chevron could afford to put on a French Quarter Fest every day for about 14 years before it proved more expensive than the finding that they're inevitably going to attempt to avoid paying. Now, what does that say? It means that they're comparatively spending a very low amount of money in an attempt to greenwash their image. What do we do against that? Well, we actually have a huge advantage because in arenas where Chevron seeks to exploit the public eye, they are then inevitably subject to the weight of public pressure. So we've sort of launched this public campaign in November of 2025, all the way through April when the actual French Quarter Fest proper occurs, to drive engagement with French Quarter Fest in coalition with musicians that are performing, for example, as well as other various Palestinian advocacy groups in the city, and environmental activist groups within the city as well, to create this friction between the existence of Chevron and the ethos and values of French Quarter Fest, essentially turning on its head the structure which Chevron seeks to exploit, that they sort of wish to exist in this space. And hopefully we will make it very clear that the city of New Orleans does not stand with the values that Chevron represents. I think this intersectionality is really the key of our campaign. We are able to discuss all of these various components of Chevron's evils and crimes and sort of collate them in a way that makes it difficult for people, everyday people, to ignore. Even if they already knew one or two things and they had compartmentalized those, we're able to draw out more interest and engagement because we do exist at this intersection of Chevron's complicity in the region and the world generally. I know that right now being shared is actually our website, chevronout.org. We have a petition on the website that I would encourage anybody to sign. We are accepting signatures from people that aren't even from New Orleans, because this is a city-sponsored festival. It is also funded by the New Orleans Tourism Board. So this is technically applicable to anybody who, could conceivably travel to New Orleans. Obviously, everybody in the country or abroad even is targeted by New Orleans tourism. And I believe that we also have this sort of more immediate even action that we're looking to do today. Yes, exactly. There's this link here to the Drop Chevron comment campaign. I don't know, Danny, if you want to jump in and discuss that a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt, and really excited to see y'all announce your pending victory. And thank you to everyone here who's going to help be a part of that. So, first, I want to draw your attention to the link in the chat that Leah shared, uscpr.org/drop chevron. So this is a brand new action tool that targets, right as of today, 30 different emails that go to different events and institutions that have received money from Chevron as a sponsor, including French Quarter Fest. So we thought it would, there are so many amazing people like Matt who are organizing campaigns locally and wanting to and setting up these petitions and these tools. If we nationally are able to consolidate our power and with one click send an email to 30 people and support these activists on the ground, and letting them know that you need to drop Chevron. Like, the brand association is just, it's bad. It's not worth it. Then we can lend more power to their campaign. So, could we get like I don't know, comment in the chat, maybe like your favorite emoji or something once you have you have signed the tool. And if you already have filled out this action tool, then I encourage you to share it with a friend. Yay, heart eyes, watermelon emoji. Thank you, Lauren and Johanna. Yes, we are. It's so, my digital nerd hat is on because it can be really easy to support people who are putting in so much labor into making sure that Chevron cannot get away with war crimes from Palestine to Venezuela, so to Ecuador and beyond. So we're gonna take like a few more seconds basically to together feel the collective energy of us just flooding inboxes right now, and then sending a friendly text to a friend who does not want to uh, endorse or participate or wants to end Chevron's war crimes. Okay, love to see it. Okay, moving right along. So next up, I think we're gonna get a screen share soon of a social media flood option that we're going to all together take right now against French Quarter Fest. So I don't know where that is, but I'm going to go ahead and share a link in the chat. You can click this and you will arrive to our collective flood of French Quarter Fest. So you're just going to go to their Instagram page, and their most recent post is announcing a coming soon for their official poster and merch. And we have a list of potential comments that you can choose from to share on this post specifically. But we also encourage you to get creative and write from your own voice and your own perspective, you can just copy and paste as well. That is very, very welcomed. And there's also a very special section for people who are local to New Orleans. And let's see what the comment section is saying. We're doing it. We have snails, we have roses. We're all feeling very excited about flooding French Quarter Fest. And also, I just want to point out, like, part of this tactic too is knowing who we're speaking to. We're speaking to a French Quarter Fest marketing team, basically. And so, like, and we want them to think that this is doable and winnable, and that they have community support to drop Chevron and put on a successful community event and be celebrated for it. So we can, I think we all feel in our bones that we are entering a new era. We are in a transition era where we are not ruled by corporate oligarchy, and the power is with the people. And I hope you all feel that in this moment as we are in real time supporting Matt and the Chevron Out of French Quarter Fest campaign. So here is another bonus. Once you've done this, you could also do the same with the DC Cherry Blossom Festival, which we only just learned about thanks to folks in this chat. I think it was Hussein in this chat who let us know. So I will go ahead and share that link. And please do also follow Chevron Out so you can stay close with their campaign and support them. And hopefully, with our national efforts, we're able to usher in more power to this local impending victory, y'all. I think we're going to wrap here, and I'll pass it back to you, Celine. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you to our speakers. This was an amazing webinar, and thanks, Danny, for walking us through the actions, and Matt for the case study. So we're going to send out a follow-up email with the links that we shared in the chat today. With additional ways you can take action. Feel free to share them with your organizations, your friends, your families, your networks. Thank you all so much for joining, and we'll see you all at our next mass movement call. Take care, everyone, and have a good night.